Chupacabra! Mire, chicos, it's the chupacabra. Chupacabra.
Some people say they have seen the chupacabra. After some tequila, he was dancing the lambada. We don't know where he has come from, making all the Mexicanos looking like a tum-tum. They say that he's a monkey. I think the whole story's just a little funky.
There's a monkey-eyed creature that we call the chupacabra. 4 feet tall like a mutant chihuahua. In Mexico City, Puerto Rico, Nicaragua.
Hey, chupacabra.
Chupacabra. Ay. Ay.
Hey, chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
That theme does not get old.
And sausage on a bun.
You're just full of just absolute classics, Phil. Welcome everybody that can hear the sound of my voice. Welcome to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, where we take a look at some of the worst YouTube videos available on offer. Joining me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, that is Phil Pulling. Phil, welcome to the show.
I am just pleased as punch to be here.
Welcome also to Kevin from the sunny slopes of Northern Ireland, where the humpback whale doth sing.
That's right. Greetings and salutations.
And from way in the deep south, where he's emerged from the bayou after an unsuccessful search for the Rougarou. Chubbs, welcome to the show.
Greetings to everyone, and I will find the Rougarou. I will keep looking.
He will, or he will die trying.
That's right.
If you haven't had a chance to check out Chubb's channel, I watched his latest video on the what was it? Devil something or other. 1984 film. Sorry, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos today. My mind is gone. It's really good. It's a really good video.
You mean the Oh God, You Devil?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That is the one.
Yep.
It's nice to see Chubbs, in the flesh.
Is that the John Denver sort of movie?
No, this is the other one.
Oh,
He was in the second one, I believe.
oh, okay.
No, John Denver was in the first one.
Oh, I'm trying to think of who the other guy. George Burns, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, he played both the devil and God in the second one.
Okay, that's pretty bad. I can't remember. I'm starting to lose my memory.
And I believe that was, in fact, his last acting job that he ever had. I mean, how weird is that? You play God and the devil, then you freaking die.
He was a good god and a good devil.
He had some explaining to do when he got up there.
Both sides were like, dude, what the beep. All right, if you enjoy Power Breakdown, Kevin or Chubbs, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of two Bigfoot. Head on over to Bigfoot and with Keith and Colin. Last week's MVP by far was the Loveland Frogman, a throwaway cartoon that I invented just as a throwaway, but I really like the way that turned out in the end. So head on over to there. This week they'll be doing something. I've got no idea, but then my best cartoons come from when I have no idea. Without further ado, I'm your host, Richard J. Allen. The J stands for Just Get On With The Show. Our first story, the sad news this week that Road Warrior Animal has passed. The other half of the Legion of Doom.
Oh, you're joking.
No, he's passed. Sad time, of course, for those of us who grew up in the early days of wrestling, with the Legion of Doom, Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, British Bulldog. This was a sad time for me. I was not happy to hear the news. Not that I don't like modern wrestling. I mean, AEW, even WE to an extent, have really pulled out the stops recently. But, those old classics, the nostalgia fact really gets to me, and it was sad to hear that Road Warrior Animal had passed.
Oh, that's terrible news. Whatever happened to the other British Bulldog? Remember, it was British Bulldogs. and then it
Mm.
just became the British Bulldog.
Yeah.
One of them. And I don't know, but those guys live a very hard life. I have a friend who's a small time, big time wrestler. You know what I mean? And he punishes himself. I mean, it really is really
The
hard on
in,
your body.
the indie circuit is terrible for wrestlers. I mean, yeah, a lot of it is scripted, but that doesn't make any of the moves less real. People die in the ring, remember.
Yeah.
Um, so
That
that
that Mickey Rourke movie, by the way, The Wrestler, was a very good example of how
mm,
hard that life can be. Because most of those guys from the '80s didn't live past 35 years old.
Yeah. I
well, look,
remember I remember seeing see what Greg the Hammer Valentine about 20 years ago, and he just was rough. I was surprised he could even function. I mean, it was just pretty bad.
there's
But
lots of good documentaries out there. Dark Side of the Mat's good. That Bret Hart movie is really good. It's available on Netflix or YouTube. And of course, David Arquette recently released a video. He won the WCW World Championship, because Vince Russo is an arse. And, he's been trying to make up for it ever since. And, he put himself through hell in the ring. And, fair play to the man. Fair play to him. But anyway, this isn't a wrestling show. This is a Bigfoot show. Our first story comes from the one, the only, indirectly, Melba Ketchum, who, of course, as many of us know, released a DNA studies over a decade ago. And someone wrote a book, How It Was Bad Science, which, to be fair, is fair, completely fair. The Ketchum Project was awful science. All you need to know about it, you don't need to know anything about DNA. You don't need to know anything about scientific studies. All you need to know is that it didn't pass peer review. That is the entire basis of which the scientific method is based upon. Kevin, you wanted to talk about this?
well, I do look at it from the standpoint of presentation. She didn't she if you're going to make a study like that, you have to present it in a certain way. I've always find that even if you are, like I said, I've read it. I don't find that it's credible, right? But at the same time, a lot of that has to do with people in a room who think they have enough knowledge to try to put that out there, and you have to take a science that somebody doesn't know that much about and make it explainable, which is what this book is about. The first few pages, I think like 45 pages, this explains what DNA is and how it works. And that's just one of those things where I think at a certain point in time, thanks to the OJ trial, everybody thought, okay, well, this is it. There's just definitely there's no question about DNA. And that's probably true for linking somebody up to a crime. But whenever you're talking about an unknown thing and trying to back that into what evolution is or this process or whatever, it's very, very tough to do. And as a person who, like I said, I used to study a lot of things with Neanderthals, especially, that um, you can't go back and test these things in a way that doesn't have a very, very good protocol for trying to take apart modern and ancient um, contamination. I don't, everybody says that was done, but then at the same time, again, you're not DNA printing your dog. This is trying to find something that's new. And if you were to find something that was new, you'd have to say, oh, this just isn't in the record before. That's all you can say. Not that it's made out of all these different things and that, but it's one of those things where it sounds good. It sounds like DNA. People buy into it, and that's science to them. And it's clearly not replicatable. And so that's all you can say about it. I mean, I'm not against it. If people want to spend their time and money on it, From that standpoint, go ahead. But on the other hand, I will say I can't believe that current science would want to have anything to do with it due to past problems and scandals with frauds. So you've got two ways of looking at it.
Neither of them are that good. I mean, none of the samples had any proven chain of custody. That's just your first problem. I mean, and then that's not even without delving into the whole fallen angel Nephilim stuff that she went on later to say. Phil, what are your thoughts?
I went to the Facebook page, and actually, the first thing I did was I was kind of texting back and forth with Kevin, and I wrote my opinion, and I really liked the opinion that I wrote, so I went ahead and cut and pasted it to the Facebook page, and I'm going to read it right here. And this is it. Are you ready? Yeah, here we go. I said, very entertaining. It looks like Hart is being criticized for being critical of Ketchum's project. People are being criticized for even doubting Ketchum's project or finding it inconclusive. I have doubt because of the source. There are things that Ketchum has said that really bothers me about her mental faculties. I have a problem about the study shown as being peer-reviewed, but in a science publication, in quotes, that Ketchum and others created just for that purpose. We can argue the science all day long. The results will be the same. In my opinion, she failed. But as far as the science is concerned, it's elementary that you can't have positive results from a DNA sample without having something to compare it to. Comparative anatomy begins with some kind of archetype. And this exists for monkeys and it exists for humans, but not for Bigfoot. Also, being an ex-cop, I know that the chain of evidence can't be broken. We must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that evidence came from where it came from and was not tainted from point A to point B. Now, these two are logical points that must be applied to the study, and when it is, the whole thing falls apart.
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree with you, Phil. And just to bring up one of the things that you talked about, as a person who's gone through a master's thesis defense, obviously, when you come up with a thesis and you go through that, it's true of your doctoral thesis, it's true of your master's thesis. You know that their job is to crush your argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, to be honest with you, to try to defend that and say, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing on that because that beats her up. Well, you know what? You wrote this paper. She's supposedly an educated person. And if you wrote that paper and you know you're going to put it out there, be prepared to get your ass kicked, you know, philosophically speaking, because that's the way that goes. And I don't understand it.
Yeah, and I don't think that it's not necessary to go into all the other stuff, the family of Bigfoots that she has named, given each a name in her backyard, and what happened with the braiding of the hair on her horses or anything like that. That's obviously just plain nuts. All you have to do is just look at what she presented and bring out some logical points about the fact that there is just too much in her paper where the dots have not been connected, and then an assumption is made.
Fair enough. I mean, we could spend all day just talking
Exactly. Yeah.
The many failures of the Ketchum project, and you know, Mr. Hart's book touches upon several of these points, and I feel like he's more than generous about that. No, Robert Walker, if you're going to say my orals, we're going to laugh at you. Okay, mate? Sorry, that's just who we are. We're bad people. Anyway, you don't tune into this show to listen to a couple of guys. Sorry, Chubbs, what did you think of the Ketchum project?
Well, I tell you what, I remember, you know, sitting in the community, and when she first came out with anything, I couldn't believe how many people just jumped on that wagon because it's like, oh, we have DNA.
Yeah,
And
well, a lot of people did. We all thought it was going to be actually done properly.
Right. And like nobody even wanted to wait to see what happened. They're like, oh, we got it now. And then the Erickson project. And I remember like the council with them on it. I just couldn't believe everybody was, and there's still people who are siding with her. And like everybody said, I don't know how you think you can get past the science, but I was just amazed watching the community be like, oh, DNA, here we go. And everybody jumped on. And it's like, well, that doesn't mean anything because they said it. And I think everything, like the book, it's proven, like, and even Phil said it, we have nothing to compare it to. So you can say whatever you want. But so I just think it's funny. It was such a big deal at the time. And man, there's still people I see siding with her. So, I don't know where they think they're going with it, but there's nowhere else to go.
And everyone waited forever for the so-called results. In fact,
it took years.
there was a gal that I met. She is a folk singer, and she wrote a song about Matilda. Remember Matilda? And the Ketchum Project called "Wake Up Matilda," and it's on my channel. So it is a really cute song, and it's rather snappy too. So
I remember that song was good.
Yeah, I did the backing. She played mandolin, and I did the backing. I don't know what I put in there, but some other bass or something and drums or something. I can't remember. But anyway, it's a fun song. It's a cute song.
Well,
and,
yeah, but the whole thing about the DNA really has been sort of a kick in the butt to a lot of people. The Star Child skull, the some of the mummies that they find down in Peru, and I think actually Melba was involved in some of that stuff too, the DNA and that, and then this, it's just one of those things where we used to have an old saying when I was growing up: if you can't make them believe with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. And I think this is kind of what happened.
Absolutely.
And that was at a time when I think a lot of things were coming into play. I mean, there was the Daisy in the box, and all of a sudden, Rick Dyer decides he's going to build himself a Bigfoot to take on the road. And I mean, it just blew up.
I love Daisy in the box. It's one of my favorite Bigfoot hoaxes ever. Such a kerfuffle about nothing. Some guy said Daisy was in the box. That was it. There was no pictures. There was no evidence. It's just, I love it. It's up there with the $10,000 challenge and the squirrel video in terms of Bigfoot hoax excellence. But you don't tune into this show to listen to a few guys have an intelligent discussion about DNA. You tune in to watch some bad Bigfoot videos. So let's start with this one from an old favorite, Long Island Bigfoot.
When are the intelligent people going to show up?
Oh,
they're not. Okay.
Gonna need some cream for that burn right now. That was harsh, man.
We're all right. We're all right.
That was harsh. But anyway, we have this 40-second clip from Long Island Bigfoot, a man who is known to this channel as that guy. Let's just watch it, shall we? Yep, this is the picture. We're happy with the picture. Thanks for showing us the picture. He's not talking during this. This is just a silent bit. And here we go. There's a bit of music now.
I couldn't understand that cutaway bit.
Yeah, didn't make any sense. But what baffles me the most is he comes back. And he comes back with a rainbow circle. What the hell, man? Red circles mean Bigfoot. Yellow circles mean cloaking Bigfoot. What the hell does a rainbow circle mean? And then he does it with an orange circle here. And
you know exactly what it means. Don't pretend with us here.
Well, what's going on, man? I mean,
seriously. Here we go. That guy. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Show his face again where his eyes are like bulging into the camera. I've been a cop for many years, and let me tell you something. This is completely non-scientific, but I can look at a guy's face and look into his eyes, and I can tell if this guy's just a typical homicidal maniac. This guy has the eyes of a serial killer. I swear to God.
I thought you were going to diagnose him with hyperthyroidism.
His eyes aren't bulging out that much.
Looking out there, I can tell.
Where is he?
Yeah,
Where? I can't see his page. Look at
I
that.
can't pause it. I can't pause it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
It's down there in the bottom right. Anyway,
I didn't
Just-
see it. I didn't see anything, and then I especially didn't see a dog. But it was nice that he that he said with a dog.
Chubbs, what did you think of this video?
I can't believe we're still at the point of circling pictures of bushes. Like,
Chubbs, you can't take the circles away from us. They're a Bigfoot, what's the word? A Bigfoot staple. You
True.
can't take circles.
true, but
I once used a star shape to show where it was, and that did not go over well.
No. No. Bad, Phil. You
I
can't
know.
use a star. It has to be a circle. It has to be a red or yellow circle. Red means
but look-
obvious Bigfoot. Yellow means cloaking Bigfoot. These rules were established a long time ago. Why is nobody following the rules anymore?
Well, I'm just a rebel, so that explains that.
But now we have a dog in the picture, so we need a new color because I didn't know Bigfoot. Well, I guess they always say they had pets that were coyotes and such, but this one is a dog.
Hey, maybe it's a koi dog.
That's true.
Yeah. Don't give him any credence at all. I don't like this video, and it's not just because of the lack of properly coloured circles, although that is a massive negative. Long Island Bigfoot, a massive negative. But because, there's nothing there, then there's obviously nothing there. I thought, honestly, if I just flip to the old thing, that he was going to circle this thing, because this thing looks kind of Bigfooty. I mean, it's obviously pareidolia, but this thing looks kind of Bigfooty. This thing there, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And he circled it with a rainbow. A rainbow. Oh, it just hurts my brain. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
That's the thing. That's the thing that if now that we've had 2 Long Island Bigfoot videos to compare with,
Like 4 or 5.
yeah, okay, well, since I've been here, and I've been looking at it. But what I'll say is, this is totally not the norm for him. You know what I mean? Because in the first video, he's talking, everything's there, he's zooming in on it and everything. Now, this is just a stationary thing. Then he cuts away, then he comes back, and then he just starts circling stuff. I just have to say,
The guy's possibly a psycho.
Well, no.
Homicidal maniac.
No, not necessarily that per se, but I'm just going to say I'm thinking he needed to create some content, and maybe that might have something to do with what he saw.
Yeah, fine. Fair enough. You want to create some content, go right ahead. I'm not stopping you.
But just keep in mind that someone's going to question your circle knowledge.
Right, and color.
Yeah, exactly. Appropriately color your circles. That's all I'm going to say. All right? It annoys me. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You deserve that, Long Island Bigfoot.
Oh, man. Was that a double? That was a double boo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a double boo. You deserve that. Okay. All right, enjoy this commercial while we move on to our next video. That sounded a little creepy.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Really, Really, Really Bad Dancer. Mr. Really, Really, Really Bad Dancer. Arms swinging, knees bending, head bobbing, to no particular rhythm. You're either dancing or you have fleas. Call me the doctor. As soon as you hit the dance floor, the taunts begin. Is that all you got, playa? Unfortunately, yes. That's all you got. Hold it on now. Who's in the house? Some guy who can't dance. That's who's in the house. You're a star. So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Mr. Happy Feet, because you really put the oogie in boogie. Mr. Really, really bad dancer.
I really need to listen to those in advance. Had I known you'd sent me a Real Men of Genius commercial, I I would have played it because those videos, those commercials always make me laugh. When I lived in America, when they came on the radio, always made me giggle. I love the Real Men of Genius advert. Anyway, moving on. We're moving on to Master Shoes. Bigfoot is heard howling in the fog on this mountaintop in Oklahoma. Spoiler alert, no, it's not. We start the video.
God.
We
Thanks for
start
the warning.
we start the video, and it's obviously a canid howl. I don't know if it's a coyote. I don't know if it's a wolf. I don't know if it's a coy wolf.
It's a wolf.
It's a wolf.
Yeah.
It's one of those three things. It is definitely a dog species of some kind howling.
Mm-hmm.
Unquestionably, some might say. But he hasn't, circled anything with the wrong beeping colour. So I'm going to give him a pass. But this is a video. He goes through it in the fog, does some dog howls, and then he talks about his experience. Chubbs, what did you think?
I agree. Like, I can't believe these videos, like, people still, like, hear them and, like, almost, maybe it's just us that we've heard so many, we can kind of tell what we're listening to, but there's no way to even prove anything like this. Like, yeah, I could have a person yell 100 yards from me, you can't see them. I can say whatever I want, but they love to make the claim right off the bat. That's Bigfoot over there in the fog. Well, you can't prove it, so they need to step up their game when it comes to these type of things.
Wow, a negative review from Chubbs.
Hey, listen,
Martin Hughes, you have let yourself down.
I gotta go next because I know the 2 points I'm going to bring up. I know that Kevin's probably already thinking it, and I want to go first because I want to steal his thunder.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, first of all, those not only sound like wolves. He knows the guy making the video knows they're wolves because he put them in the video after the fact. The second howl continues on after the video break. That is a cut. Yeah, it continues. It goes from one scene to another, and there's a break there, and that second howl continues through that cut.
Oh, that's just harsh.
Secondly, he talks about how he was up and for the most of the night, he just kept hearing all of these sounds around him. He's got a camera. Where are the sounds?
Yep.
That's all for me. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, the way I looked at it was, I'm gonna go a totally different thing. You're valid. Your points are completely valid, but I'm going to say something here from the standpoint of just looking at this guy, and there's nothing wrong with him, right? But if you're out there,
he's not a psycho.
No. He's clearly. Look at him. He's well manicured. He's obviously his clothes are clean, everything like that. And why I'm saying that is important to say. Now he comes up with the idea somewhere at the end of the video. He says, "Well, why am I out here looking for Bigfoot? Well, there was a $10 million bounty show.
Yeah.
This is why I'm out here looking for it."
Yes.
Yeah.
And consequently, this is where when you say that, that might be reason to believe that you may have a wish fulfillment in one form or another, but maybe not. But I will say this is that if Bigfoot is a nocturnal creature, and as we don't know what it is, I can tell you this: people who are not around other people, as in Aboriginal people and things like that, who don't have access to a washing machine and all these different things like that, they can smell you a mile off. You know what I mean? You're going out there with freshly laundered clothes. He's got probably cologne on. He's shaved and, brushed his teeth. I mean, I've talked to people and, sort of, snipers and things like that. that have been trained and stuff like that. They say, yeah, don't even brush your teeth. You know what I mean? Don't take a bath for 6 days before you go out, and don't wash your clothes, and don't do that because other people will smell you. So that's just a quick thing to say to some people. Have you ever thought about the fact that maybe you are a scent bomb that's walking around the forest? And part of the reason why it seems to me that a lot of the stories that we get about people who are lost in the woods or out there in the woods and they're doing sort of things like that, they don't really smell like the average guy going to the Target. You know what I mean? They're probably a little stinky and they're probably a little earthy smelling. And maybe that's what causes the interaction.
Yeah, not only that, but and a good case in point, because Chubbs is an expert at this, and I know for a fact that when he goes into the field, he finds skunk cabbage and rubs it all over his body.
Right.
I didn't want to say naked body because that kind of brings to mind this image we don't really want to see, but he uses skunk cabbage a lot.
True, and I've also walked past methane coming straight out the ground. So where people say that skunk apes got like that methane smell, but it actually happens naturally. So I probably don't smell very good when I come out the swamp. Thank you.
That's
Big applause for Chubb.
That's expert advice there from the.
He needs an applause for that.
Yeah. Okay. 1 sec. Give me a sec. I don't have any applause. You can have a.
Oh, great.
Oh.
Right.
Yes, the greatest fanfare in the history of fanfares. All right. Well, we're done with this video. We're moving on.
Wait. What are you going to give it a thumbs up or what?
This one. No, I'm going to give it a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Just because it was quite obviously a
boo.
Yeah. All right, then fine. I'll give it a boo as well.
Oh, to be honest with you, I did like the fog in the trees. That was a good effect.
Yeah, it looked pretty, but it was obviously a wolf or a coyote.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not accepting that.
It's definitely has a nice Bodmin Moore look to it. Maybe he was out looking for the beast.
The beast of Bodmin
Moore.
The Hind of the Baskervilles.
No, the beast of Bodmin Moore.
Yeah. Anyway, let's have a commercial.
Bud Light presents
damn you,
Real
Phil.
Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.
Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.
I can't
Last
mute
night,
my
you
mic
had the
either,
enchilada
or it
combo
doesn't
platter.
play.
This morning, the 3-cheese omelet with broccoli. This afternoon, you're a ticking time bomb.
Ticking time bomb.
Because of you, a simple elevator ride is suddenly a 42-floor plummet into the very bowels of hell.
Take my breath away.
Who did it? Who cares? Sweet mercy, please just someone light a match.
Sweet, sweet mercy.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh ninja of the nasty. And while you're at it, crack open a window.
Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.
There we go.
the jail elevator with Phil.
There we are. Just
Did
to
that ever
prove.
happen to you, Phil? Did anybody, when you were harassing them, just fart all over you? Probably worse.
Yeah.
My favorite arresting video is that what do you call it? Front cam from the car. Anyway, it's car footage of a dude arresting this woman who says, "Can we settle this with sex?" And you just know that guy is like, "Oh, why did I have to leave the camera on? Why did I leave the camera on?" Anywho, that last commercial proves that no matter how old you are, you still have the sense of humor of an 8-year-old, but it's quality. Did you send me my favorite one, the pontoon boat one?
I don't know. You'll just have to play the next one in line and see what happens.
Yeah, I will. All right, so this guy gets Mad Richard respect points. It's not obvious until towards the end of the video why this is. He starts his video by saying that, what he thought was a bear came into his camp. He starts talking about Bigfoot and they're in the woods. He talks about eye shine. Unfortunately, Bigfoot, as we've already discussed, would probably be a primate and therefore would not have eye shine.
Unless it's a lemur.
Unless it's a lemur.
Yeah, I don't know about this for sure, but my wife tells me that there are some kind of a lemur that has some, I don't know.
Ringtail.
Yeah. No.
Lemurs are not, what we're talking about.
No, I understand.
But in any case.
And by the way, the call of the ringtail lemur is frightening as hell.
You know what's scary? Barn owls. They have a really scary call. Yeah, I'm just going to one up you there.
They have a screech. They screech. Yeah.
Yeah, they scream. It's quite scary. Foxes having sex, also a bad call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cats having sex sound like babies crying. It's terrible.
Okay, we're massive. We're moving really off.
Yeah, we are.
Let's just try and get back. Anyway, he's in the woods. He's with his mate, and this just video. They're explaining why they're here. Towards the middle of the video, they find a footprint. And at the time, when you first watch it, I don't know about, you guys, but me personally, I was like, oh, come on. There was a regular footprint next to it. There's a bunch of bear tracks in front of it. Why aren't there not more than one footprint? Why is it just this solitary footprint with a regular human footprint next to it? But then he does go on to explain that it's a bear track that he's accidentally stepped in and has created this facsimile of a Bigfoot print.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, I give him a bit of respect. He's being completely honest. He thought it was a Bigfoot track, but then he realized that he'd made it.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of impressed by this. Kevin, what do you think?
I agree with you. I agree with you that he's out there. Now, I don't know how far away this is because he does at one point in time say, some women came by the night before and had the flashlights on and reported, hearing women speaking. I don't know if he saw the women or whether he was trying to say that, he just heard them. He did make which is never a good thing. He did make the admission that then after this was before he had a lot of beers. This was a quote I just put down, lots of beers, and then that's whenever they saw the eye shine. But this obviously, to me, I don't know. It looks like some kind of an off-grid camping site, maybe, or something. But it can't be too far away because he rolled a big cooler out there. But anyway, he's basically saying that something 8 feet tall was looking from around that tree with eye shine, and but he does come back and say, yeah, I don't think so this time or whatever. So that's I mean, from that, I'm with you. If you can solve it and you can say no, it's not that, then that's fine too, because a lot of times people do as we all know every week, people misidentify things, and so I'd have to give the guy kudos for that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there are so many Bigfooters that would have gone, "Oh, this is a Bigfoot track," and just left it at that. But he didn't, and you can see in front there's all those bear impressions in the mud.
Yeah,
it wouldn't make any sense for there to just be this one solitary Bigfoot track. And he fesses up to it, and for that I give him some kudos. Chubbs, what did you think?
I agree. This is a great example of what a Bigfoot researchers, say that phrase, I guess, video should be. They saw eye shine. He put his friend out there to show the height. Fine. They thought they saw a footprint, and when he figured out it was his own footprint, they put that in the video and made it clear and said, hey, we'll try better next time. And that's what we should expect, because he could have just said nothing and said, hey, I found a footprint. But I think it's a good example of what we should be doing out there in the woods. So yeah, kudos from me too.
Yeah, a lot of kudos, Phil. You're going to give him some love as well.
Yes and no. This is actually an example of how any camping trip can turn into a Bigfoot research site. I mean, literally. If you go camping, point your camera to the woods, make a couple of pans, all of a sudden you're a Bigfoot researcher. I do agree that this guy was upfront about the print, and yeah, he gets kudos for that. He doesn't make any weird claims about pareidolia being a Bigfoot. He doesn't do anything like that. So, I mean, he just basically rolling out the thing as it happens. And the only thing, though, I think is that, honestly, if you're going to be talking about eye shine, at least Google eye shine or whatever and find out about it. I mean, there are a lot of animals that can climb up into a tree that has eye shine when you're shining a flashlight at it. A raccoon, for example, he could be hanging up 8 feet off the ground up in the tree, and all of a sudden he's got eye shine because you're shining a flashlight around, and they don't even acknowledge that possibility. All of a sudden, it's just eye shine, Bigfoot, 8 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like it could be a raccoon or something.
Yeah.
But what I would like this because of a person who, I've talked to a lot of people. I've seen strange lights in the woods, like I said before, or I believe I have. Let's just leave it at that. But I will just say, I would like a standard definition of some of this crap. You know what I mean? And I mean, let's talk about eye shine as a dog, the back of a dog's eye reflecting something or whatever. And let's call the other thing eye luminescence or something.
Right.
Because again, we four of us have to sit here and argue over what we think he means. And so, it's kind of a weird thing. And I find that very much as a person who has studied paranormal stuff or tried to, that the Bigfoot people seem to want to have their own language about stuff, and it's like mind speak. I mean, it's telepathy. If you believe in telepathy, believe in telepathy. But who came up with that idea? You know what I mean? And so it's just it's just a strange way of trying to define something as different. I mean, like I said, it's and that's one of the things I would like is just a terminology of what it is that we're trying to see. Because I mean, if for example, there's 2 different camps in Bigfooting, and if for example we think, okay, this guy's really, really good, and then he says the word eye shine, and then you think, okay, well, he's a woo nutter. I'm not going to pay this any more attention because it's not fitting into my wheelhouse.
Whoa. I don't associate eye shine with woo.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, well,
I associate eye shine with people that are badly misinformed as to.
Well, luminescence would be one thing, though. I mean, let's say there's no source of light anywhere around. All of a sudden, you see these red illuminating globes coming from the woods. That's completely.
Maybe I misspoke, and thank you for correcting me. But I mean, but you see what I'm saying? Sometimes we're so used to trying to define, cut up, and dissect people that maybe just using the wrong terminology. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe there should be some kind of a Bigfoot dictionary. You could write one, Kevin. Work on that.
Yeah.
Get it published.
Well,
I'll buy it.
Well,
Beagle's Guide to the Bigfoot. I'm a fan. Oh, I'm going to give this guy a thumbs up because I respect.
Yeah.
He's not going to get a fanfare though. He doesn't deserve a fanfare. Okay, moving on. Let's have another one. Oh, this one also says "good" at the front of it. Okay, not going to laugh. Go.
Budweiser presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
More than any neon sign or exploding scoreboard ever could, your chrome dome cover says, "Hey guys, look at me."
What could you be thinking?
You think it looks natural, but it couldn't look phonier if it had a chin strap. Made of space-age fibers, it can repel anything. Rain, wind, snow, and especially young women.
Oh,
So crack open an ice cold Budweiser, Mr. Stud in a rug. Then crack open another for that thing on your head.
God.
I don't think it's all straight.
Okay, we're not supposed to swear on this show, but seriously, fuck you, Phil. All right, we're supposed to do. Oh, that's some good shit. All right.
If the hairpiece makes you feel good about yourself, just wear it. Don't worry
Now,
about
look. This was all Stephanie's idea. You can blame her.
Oh, okay. Fuck you, Stephanie.
Whoa. Hold on. I didn't mean to go that far.
Okay. Well,
Gee.
someone's getting fucked. Okay, that's all I'm here. You or Stephanie? I mean, seriously.
Okay, it'll be me. Yeah, it'll
Okay,
be me.
okay.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Phil. All right. Anyway, while the last 9-minute video I watched with some enjoyment, I've watched this video 3 times and still could not tell you what it is about. It's about some southern gentleman, I believe, who is looking for ginseng. I'm not quite sure where Bigfoot comes into it, if I'm being completely honest. This guy's accent, I couldn't understand a lot of what he was talking about. Chubbs, you're from the deep south. Can you translate? Where does Bigfoot come into this video?
Well, he's a little northern to me. He's in Kentucky. So they call that hillbillies. I'm in the redneck section. But the only thing I think he said about Bigfoot was he heard knocks and whistles and pointed in a couple directions. And then just it was all about ginseng, and it does look like a beautiful place. But no, I think he just mentions the Bigfoot thing. So no, there's really nothing to go by.
I'm glad you said that, because I was just like, where's Bigfoot? I thought it was like lost in translation. But
Well, he does bring it up almost right at the beginning. He goes, I'm out here looking for the ginseng and possibly even a little Bigfoot or two. Just like that.
He's not from Louisiana.
I thought he was from Kentucky.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Kentucky people don't sound like that.
Well, he does.
Oh, does he? See,
Doesn't
but
he?
Well, that's the
he
thing.
sounds a lot more southern than Chubbs does, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
He even says that his grandpa moonshined out there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
I just wondered what Ted Cruz was doing out in the woods with her.
But he does point out some interesting things about the wildlife in the area. I love the part where he shows where the squirrel or perhaps a chipmunk was on the log eating nuts, and then he sees a cave that looks like it could be a nice little hideaway for just about anyone to put a sleeping bag in, which is kind of nice. And he didn't like being close to the rocks because possibly it could be could be a cougar or something around, or maybe in a bear.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go, guys.
All right, later, bro.
All right.
Bye, Phil.
Yeah, I looked at it like I used to love that Ginsinger show, because that's a big no to let anybody even know where you're going out ginsenging. I think is like Appalachia to me. You know what I mean? Like, don't go down there trying to look for stuff that you don't want to. That you might not want to find down in the holler. Let's just put it that way. But I did like the fact that he was trying to show it. Maybe he was going to do, maybe he just didn't find anything that he thought was Bigfoot related today, which is actually kind of nice. You know what I mean? Like he's out there and he's recording it and he doesn't find anything to do with Bigfoot, like 99 out of 100 of us do every time we go out in the woods. There's just nothing there that looks like it could be weird. And so he's not trying to like look at the ground and find 2 sticks that fell onto each other or something. It's just not there. So like I liked him, from that standpoint. But as far as that goes, I think he's in a prime area that would have a lot of legends of Bigfoot, whether or the wild man, whether they're there or not. That's a matter of interpretation. But um, I like the fact that he's sort of bringing on these old family stories. He quite obviously knows a lot about the woods, and that's good. From my standpoint, he knows the area. He's lived there his whole life. His family's lived there his whole life. They've gone out. He's not going to misidentify something as something that isn't. So, which is a refreshing sort of bit of difference. I liked it.
All right. I didn't understand it, but Kevin liked it. That's good enough for me. We'll give it a good old thumbs up, and we'll close it, and we'll play another commercial.
Bud Light
Oh,
presents
really?
Real Men of Genius.
Real man of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Way Too Much Cologne Wearer.
Mr. Way Too Much Cologne wearer.
Like a bullhorn, your cologne announces your every arrival 4 blocks before you get there.
Here he comes now.
Here a splish, there a splash, everywhere a splish splash. You don't stop till every square inch of manhood is covered.
Everywhere splish splash.
Overslept and haven't got time to shower? Not to worry. You've got 4 gallons of cologne and a plan.
Going on.
So crack open a nice cold Bud Light, Mr. Way Too Much Cologne Wearer, because we think we smell a winner.
Mr. Way Too Much Cologne wearer.
Okay, I've really got to reorganize these videos. All right. So moving on, we go to the man, the myth, the legend that is Power Breakdown for this breakdown of a Todd Standing video. He goes from beginning to end, which shows a lot more commitment than I would. Yeah, it's Todd Standing. I don't know what else to say to you guys. I mean, we all know what he's about. He's about BS. That's the bread and butter of Todd Standing's life. Phil just does a little breakdown. It's funny. It's a good video. Was rather counting on him being here for this part of the video, but needs must when the devil vomits in your eider down. Chubbs, what did you think?
Okay, well, I've actually seen the entire quote unquote movie that this clip is taken from, and I can't believe they
watched Todd Standing's Netflix special.
No, I've actually watched it twice. That's what I'm saying. I've actually seen the whole movie, but I can't believe there's this whole movie, and this is like the best thing they have from it, like a hand. Like, if that's the best you got, I can't believe they let them put out a movie about it. But he is a little eccentric, and I guess he sells it. But we can't prove or disprove anything just from a hand coming up. But that's what you get: some apples being stolen.
All right, Kevin, what do you reckon?
Well, I like the way Phil really took a look at this, and from his standpoint, from his standpoint and my standpoint, I guess it'd be roughly the same. Just as a quick aside to these different types of things, if you have the right, film processing, equipment and everything like that, like literally, I could put something onto Apple Media or submit it to Amazon or whatever. So, that's not that tough to do. But what I will say is that it is strange that Phil has done some breakdowns as far as what he believes the Sasquatch calls are. He puts the microphone inside of a cup and then pitch shifts it down, and so that it does sound relatively close. He does talk about the hand being similar to a hand later on, where another individual makes a video showing, there's roughly this bare hand, or costume hand in the back of a car. And so and he sort of, the guy says, "Ooh, what's the story with that?" And he says, "Well, my brother-in-law likes to play pranks on me and all that." But so from that standpoint, you've got some. If you don't want to believe in Todd Standing, he gives you plenty of reasons not to. You know what I mean? And
He
so
is a man that creates a
yeah,
big bubble of
yeah,
disingenuity.
right. And I think that that's one of those things where, when Phil actually talks about the fact that there's multiple camera angles, it's not a live shot continuously going on, that there is editing that's involved with that. And once you get into the editing stage of taking film and editing it, and all that stuff, there's room for embellishment, let's put it that way. I'm not saying that I've never met Todd Standing, so I don't know him. I would give you an honest opinion of him, but I don't think that that's fair for me to do without knowing him, just based on just his videos alone. But
No, the only thing that you need to know is that Matt Moneymaker and his crew thought he was full of crap.
oh yeah.
So,
So
Hey, real quick, I've watched Todd's stuff for a long time, and I've never talked bad about him. The only thing I would say is he always opens his videos by saying, "I'm the man who takes people to interact or see Bigfoot." Yet nobody else in the world has come out to verify that he's correct in saying that. And if you're going to say that, like, if you've done that, then where are these other people? And how is the only footage you got is what we call Winky and Blinky, I guess. But like, he talks to one in that video and says, "Hey, it's Todd." Like, he's talking to it by like he knows his name. If you can do that, but the best you got is it stealing your apple. I mean, that's just like, he may be BS, but we can't. Like, I just don't get what he's trying to do. Like,
yeah. Well, I agree with you, Chubbs, because of the fact that it seems like to me, and as a person who would look at some of these things and say, that's almost like magician's patter. Magician's patter is one of those things where they can lead you to believe that you're seeing something that you're not seeing, or
yeah.
or whatever. And so obviously I think that, at some point in time I fell victim to that myself. So I'm not going to say that it doesn't happen. And I think that
Johnson, cough.
What's that?
I said cough, Johnson, cough.
Yeah, well, but what I'm saying is part of it was, if something happens and then part of it's suggestion and things like that, that's true too. Or that if it's one of those things where that can happen. What I'm saying is we all fall victims to that. And so a lot of people were very, very hard on Dr. Meldrum because he went to see it, to see this area and things like that. And so, we should all be a little bit curious in the fact that that's the way it is. Because even I will say this though, right? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. And it's not like
we're doing expressions, are we? Well, even a broken clock is right towards the death.
Right. So, but the problem with that is, let's just say that Todd Standing goes out and gets the most awesomest, incontrovertible film that he's looking at a Bigfoot and it's interacting with him, and nobody's going to believe it. You know what I mean? He's hoisted.
I believe Rick Dyer over Todd Standing.
Yeah. Well, but you see that's what I mean too. If Rick Dyer went out in the woods and find something that was genuine, nobody would even look at it. And so part of the problem is that once you get into that level of disrepute, it's very tough for everybody else. But then on the other hand, I would also, and I will say this because I've done it in the past. I'd still probably do it. If he invited me to go up there, I'd still go, even though everybody would tell me not to do it. But I would still go because I would think, this seems to be like a good area and everything else. But, because I would think that a static puppet or some kind of an idea like something moving or animatronics or something like that out in the woods would be interesting to see, even if it was fake. But
Oh, I would go with him, just like I said, because if you're gonna claim you keep bringing people to see something, let's do it. Let's go. But you know, all we have is this little bit of evidence in these videos. So it's in the end, we don't have much to go by. So I guess that's why he keeps popping up. But he's been around a while.
yeah, well, but I mean, if you look at lots of different programs like this for all kinds of paranormal stuff or weird things like that or whatever, very rarely do they ever come up with anything actually that credible, um, that somebody can actually say, "Oh, yeah, that's proof of anything." I mean, it's basically again proof of nothing. But then at the same time, we do seem to put a lot of effort into people in the Bigfoot industry or what an industry, but seat research thing. We say, I like the guy. He's kind of
Industry's a
funny.
better word.
Yeah. But I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it basically comes down to he's a good guy. I like him. You know what I mean? We've had drinks before. He seems like he's on the level and everything like that. That's not an indication of how good of a researcher it is. It just means that he's a good drinking buddy, But
Yep.
And
yeah,
people are waiting for something, like anything. Just like the Ketchum thing. It's like people are waiting for something to be proven right. And I think that's why there's a lot of these weird channels where people are watching, like waiting for something. And that's the problem. Like people can manipulate that and we get all these hoaxes. So and I think that's what people are waiting for. Just like, okay, what's next? Oh, that's proven. Okay, let's go. But we have to be skeptical and say, okay, well, wait a minute. Let's look at your proof for a second.
right.
But that's why, like Todd, it's like, don't say you bring people to see anything and nobody's come out to validate what you're saying.
Right. Eventually, people will get tired of that.
Yeah.
Some people will stick with you for the long haul, and some people won't. But but in a lot of cases, it's the controversy that people almost drives people to that. I mean, we all know several people who probably we like or don't like or whatever. But the fact that they can create controversy week in and week out and make people talk about them always helps that person.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Okay, well, that's going to wrap up the videos for this week. Chubb, you got any movie reviews coming up?
I put one out today for this week, and me and my female co-host go over the Child's Play franchise. So
Brilliant.
if anybody wants to check that out, we go into detail about that.
The good Child's Play or the new shit one?
We cover every movie for just to bring it up, and then we talk about the good points. We don't dwell on the bad stuff.
Good. Oh, Kevin, you up to anything?
Well, I'm thinking about bringing back my little news Facebook page about news that isn't news, kind of offbeat news. And if I do that, then I'll report on that next week, and I'll let you know where that is. But I haven't quite honestly come to the full conclusion that I want to do that yet, because actually my father's got some testing he needs done next week, so it might not actually happen. So,
ooh, okay, that's well, all right then.
Well, there, I was just laying it out there.
Yeah, no. Just put it out there. Just put it out.
Yeah. And so if anybody wants to say anything positive for my dad, that would be great. If you don't say anything negative, and we'll all love each other.
We're just A space NG. You need to stay out of the chat room because you completely derail me with your comments.
What did he say?
Lance said that people think only thing is that people are getting screwed $5,000 to go out with him. And space NG wrote, you can get screwed for much less. And I'm just like, that's funny. And it just completely threw me off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the
Right.
thing about that. Don't listen. If you want to go out in the woods, I'm sure Chubbs will take you out in the woods for not very much money. I certainly will. So if you
Yep.
if you don't have to, I'd say this: contact me offline. Tell me that you want to go out in the woods. Tell me when you want to go out in the woods. Tell me what the parameters are, and as long as you're not nuts, and it turns out that you're not stalking me or something, hey, I'll take you out there because that's the way it is. But people shouldn't be charging you big, huge chunks of money to go out in the woods. It's free because it's a national forest. So, just look at
Well,
look
no,
at
it,
this
it
part.
costs 10 grand to go out with me. I'm just putting that out.
Really?
And, and for that money, you're getting my awesome electric personality. So bear that in mind. 10
Well,
grand.
you get the electric personality with me because I tase people and then steal their money.
Checks made payable to Richard's Cause Fund. And yeah, that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. Nikki said that she might be coming back next week. I'm like, nah, I don't believe you. But we'll see. It'd be nice to have her back. She's very, very excited to meet you, Kevin. That
Yeah.
I know for sure.
Okay, well, then, I'll brush my teeth then. Not that she can smell it, but it'll be all right.
But,
I'll comb my hair down and I'll put some Brill cream in it, some VO5.
really, put on your shiny shoes and your Saturday night fever.
That's right. We'll get ready to boogie down.
Awesome. So yeah, we will be back next week. Please feel free to subscribe, give us a like, or give us a thumbs down. Either way, you've watched the show, so I don't care. Oh yeah, and go on over to Bigfoot with Keith and Colin, where this week they will be getting into some crazy shenanigans. It's good night from me, and it's good night from my co-host. Say good night. Good night.
You've all done very, very well.